Greetings and welcome to another session of Vampire the Masquerade Independence. This evening's scene is set once again in the closed down at the moment Desert Rose in the centre of town. And we start with a knock on the front door, which is answered by Camilla's servant Cadbury. And if River's upstairs, she can hear a man's voice talking with Cadbury downstairs, and Cadbury seems to be letting the stranger in.
Once River hears a voice, she doesn't seem to. I'm guessing she doesn't recognize the voice, so she's probably lounging in her room. She just finished cleaning everything up for the past few nights. It looks very much like the room she once had, being a bit of a sentimental woman. But not knowing who it is, she'll put on her purple robe. It's too early for her to be up, so she doesn't sleep through the day yet, and she'll kind of start down the staircase. But she won't say anything yet.
You can just about see the figure of the man. He's very tall. He's wearing a smart black suit, white shirt, black tie, underneath a clean trench coat, and he has a low-brimmed hat on, and he shows Cadbury what looks like a warrant or a piece of paper with some sort of official writing on it. Cadbury steps aside, and you hear the man say, "Oh, if you'll excuse me, I'll conduct my investigation over here, and I'll call you if I need you." And Cadbury seems a little bit intimidated by this man. And he sort of wanders off, and you see him sort of wander into the back office and take out his phone. Perhaps he's calling Camilla.
Isabel she'll approach Cadbury and she'll kind of put a hand on his back and go, "What's going on, sugar?"
He jumps, not really jumps, but he flinches a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, milady, excuse me, there's a police officer here. I'm just gonna call my mistress and let her know." And he sort of picks up the receiver and he starts dialing Camilla, and the phone's ringing, and he turns away from you as he tries to concentrate on his phone call.
And she'll it's River, so of course naturally she'll get up and she'll go, well, she's not going to stand for somebody like barging on the place, especially there's clearly no probable cause, at least in her eyes. So she'll go looking for the guy.
He's made his way upstairs and wandered over to the room at the end of the corridor. Not your room, but the room that's currently being used as Ariana's dressing room, or will be. And it was the sort of the largest room in the place, and it was traditionally the owner's room, but it didn't have to be. Sometimes there used to be children in there. You seem to remember at one point.
And okay.
He opens the. You see him standing in the doorway. He's opened the door and he's sort of standing in the doorway, looking into the room. His back to you.
And River will kind of, she'll walk up to the man and she'll stand behind him, arms crossed, and she'll clear her throat. She's in a very sort of pissy kind of way.
He doesn't turn around. He walks into the room slowly and goes to the dressing table where there's mirrors and lipsticks and things like that, and picks up a mirror, and he says quietly, but you can hear it, "What have they done to my mother's room?"
Your mother's room. Sugar, nobody's lived here in a long time.
He sort of dips his head, sadly, and I lived here as a boy.
River kind of seems a little taken aback. She'll walk in and go, mm, well, last I heard this was a ghost town. And she'll step into the room. So, what exactly are you doing here? I mean, this isn't an illegal operation, and nothing has even happened yet. This place is just under renovation.
He sits down in the chair, and very slowly takes off his hat, and you can see his face and his beard, and the face of Brandon Thorne.
Oh, River looks taken aback as all fuck at this point.
And he rubs his hand over his mouth. He says, "I thought time went by really quickly."
And River hasn't said anything in a while, but you can tell by the look on her face, it's like she's seen a ghost.
And he looks at her quite, not sternly, but he looks at her, steadily, as if he's sort of expecting to see her. She hasn't surprised him.
And she'll walk over, and she seems very, despite her usual confident walk, she's very timidly walking closer, like very slow, very not sure if she wants to get too close to him, and she'll kind of tilt her head and go, "You can't be Brand."
I wish I could say I wasn't.
River will kind of slump into a chair across from him. Jaw slack, she doesn't really know what to say at this point, because this is very shocking for her to see him here, and she just, I thought you were dead.
So did I for a while, and I thought you were dead. But I've been following you for quite some time.
Might I ask the reason you haven't made yourself known until now?
Things are a little bit complicated. I have a complicated life. He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a little flask, takes a sip from it.
All my old boyfriend's gonna come back from the dead in this town. Kind of like Rumpels.
Might give the population a boost.
You know there's only ever been two.
So I'm guessing from that, you've seen the other one.
I've seen him. Victor's around. He was a little more of a shock than you, I'll be honest.
Victor. Hmm.
He's the sheriff.
About to say, I suppose he's still playing cops and robbers.
Just a little bit. Though, still not forgiven him, of course, for his, what he did. And she kind of, shakes her head. Though, I suppose if you never killed that sheriff, I would have never met your daddy. And if I never met your daddy, I would have never met you.
True.
Though I thought, honestly thought that he had been finally caught by one of the lynching mobs or something, but no. I suppose he escaped. Then again, I didn't expect you to be around either. I mean, you were always such a good boy. What exactly happened to you?
he he rolls up his sleeve slightly, and you can see like there's a bit of a there's a tattoo there. It looks quite faded though, a very very old tattoo. Something that was done when tattoos weren't all that intricate or great, or the art of it wasn't particularly uh, practiced.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes another sip, a deeper one from the flask, and says, "Guess I changed."
And her eyes will follow the tattoo. Well, mind if I ask exactly what you changed into?
I grew up, not the good boy anymore. The world's not as black and white as we used to see it. I'm guessing you know that by now.
No, it's certainly not as black and white as all of that, but there are still clear lines. She just studies his face, like she just. It just seems like she's having a hard time coping with him being there in front of her.
When I saw they were reopening this place, I knew you'd definitely come.
I couldn't let somebody else live in my room. You know better than that.
What the hell have they done to this room?
I don't know, but I know Miss Cat would have been quite distressed to see it like this.
So gaudy.
I know. Mm. There's a Miss Ariana, sorry, sir. living in this room. It's her dressing room, really, actually, here. And woman.
These people that have taken over, are they good people?
I would say, I mean, I like Miss Camilla. She's quite nice. Uh, she let me have my room back. As far as the people in the city, one of them is a vampire that your daddy might have gone after at one point or another. She's the prince. You might have heard the name Robin Silverberg before. I certainly have. Whereas Victor's her sheriff. There's been a lot of problems in this town, so I don't suggest you stick around in case things happen to you. I will be able to bear it.
He puts the flask back inside his pocket and reaches over towards where you're sat. He doesn't. Brand's never been an aggressive man. He doesn't give you aggressive body language, but he does reach out towards you and lightly brush the back of his finger over the back of your hand. You allow him to do so.
Well, she'll allow it. And her eyes will fall to where he touched her.
Not all that much has changed then.
Time has changed quite a few things. For example, this town would have never ever been ran by vampires, not back in our day. But it is.
Very well. I guess I will be sticking around for a little while. I can't help myself.
Just be careful. There's quite a bit going on here. What do you know about the spot?
I can look after myself. I never really stuck in a group. I'm my father's son, after all.
Mm-hmm. Even your daddy settled down after a while.
Only because he had a woman to tame him. I've never been a fan of a tame woman.
No, you never were a fan of tame women. And I've never been a fan of being tamed.
I think we might
But
get along just fine then.
and she'll kind of smile again. You know, Camilla's gonna come up here eventually, thinking that you're in here trying to bust her business.
Speaking of which, a couple of minutes, or seconds after you said that, you can hear Cadbury coming upstairs. And he walks in and looks at you both sitting around in the room. And you can tell he's quite annoyed, but he's so well trained that he doesn't raise his voice.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes dart at you and he says, I think it would be best if you removed yourself from this room before Lady Camilla sees you touching Ariana's thing.
Quite right, quite right. And she'll stand up.
Bran stands up, puts his hat back on, walks past Cadbury, who is about a half a foot at least taller than. Gives him a little sneer, smile before walking along. back down the corridor.
Cool. She'll follow him and she'll go, my room's in the same place if you want to talk in there.
Don't really remember doing much talking in your room.
And she kind of smirked a little at him and went, nobody's ever done much talking in my room.
He reaches into his pocket and you see a police badge. It's like a genuine one. Under his coat. And he takes out a little black notepad, type that cops have, and writes something down on it and hands it to you.
She arches a brow. She takes the notepad and looks at it.
It's an address. It's not exactly an address, it's more directions.
Mm-hmm.
And a phone number. And he says, I'm living in a trailer outside of town right now. If you ever want to come find me.
I don't think I have a choice anymore, Peter.
He walks toward your room, and if the door's open, he'll stick his head in.
Well, it's probably a little bit ajar. She probably left it like that, and when he sticks his head in, it's identical. While the furniture is not exactly the same, it has been made to look the same. Even the familiar incense that she used to burn in that room still hangs in the air.
He walks into the room without really asking you. For a start. And he walks over to where there's like a little hook by the window.
Mm-hmm.
Takes his coat off and hangs it there. Then puts his hat on top of it. And seems to step back admiring the somewhat familiar image of that setup.
She'll kind of stand in the doorway and chuckle a little to herself and shaking her head. Aren't we just two sentimental fools?
Well, I don't know, are you making room for Victor's coat here these days?
Victor hasn't been to this room. Thank you very much. Not since back then, obviously. I told Camilla not to tell him to come up here, thank you very much.
He makes that sort of sound, but it's more of a grunt than an actual word. If I was Prince, I wouldn't even let him step foot in this town after what he did.
He claims to have some proof of innocence that I have yet to see.
Man can't be trusted.
You speaking from experience or from jealousy, sweetheart?
He sort of tenses his jaw a little bit. Gives you quite a hard look. Puts his hat back on. I didn't come here to drag up old romantic truths, just to warn you.
About what, exactly?
You managed to keep yourself pretty safe so far. I wouldn't want you to expose yourself by coming back here and getting too friendly with old flames.
Can I say? A bit of a moth. She kind of smiles a little at him. Bran, on a softer note, it is good to see you again.
He seems to sort of respond to how her voice softens a little bit. His stance drops. He's not so guarded. He smiles and he says, "Well, you know where to find me if you need anything."
Grand opening's in a couple days. You gonna stop
Out of
in?
character, is it?
Yes, as far as I know.
Are you opening the bar now? Is your character in charge of this bar?
As far as I heard, like I thought you said it was like. I don't know when you're opening it. Shush.
Yeah, carry on.
It's like, are you gonna be here when it does? I'm not exactly a star anymore.
You'll always be the star to me, he says, sort of almost shyly, as he tries to sort of avoid the subject and make his way out. Not making a dart after he said it.
She'll grin to herself at that. Well, some things never change. And she'll let him go, and after he's made his way out, she'll she'll shut the door.
Oh, he gets as far as the front door and walks straight into Camilla, who looks him up and down, um, reaches into his pocket where she can see the warrant hanging out, reads it, looks over it up towards the stairs where River is, puts it back, and leans in quite close and says something to him. And you see it, and then he leaves. He walks past her and leaves. And that's where our scene ends.